excess of 1,400 people. And so I don't even want to think about what would have happened in the lives of those people had the amazing staff who care so much about children and families not been there to help. So I just don't even want to envision the landscape without adoption option there.
Delois, the Garber Group is so thankful for the incredible work you and your whole staff do here at Adoption Option.
The Garber Management Group has been so good to us. Their contributions have enabled us to change the lives of children and families, and we're so grateful. They support multiple nonprofits that help make the community great.
Everybody knows you do better.
WSGW News Time 9:08. Federal funding is coming to the city of Grand Rapids and Kent County to help rid homes of lead hazards. The $8.5 million grant is from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Kent County will reportedly use the funds to develop a program to remove lead from homes around the county. Grand Rapids already has those programs to remove lead hazards, with 4 out of 5 homes in the city having lead paint. General Motors says a decision to close an information technology center was about streamlining operations. Autobeat reporter Jeff Gilbert reports.
The Arizona facility was the one deemed redundant as GM reduced its IT centers from 4 to 3. The one in Warren is staying open. 940 salaried jobs will be cut in Arizona, although workers whose jobs are being eliminated will have the opportunity to apply for other positions within GM. GM opened that site 9 years ago and until recently had been recruiting employees. Jeff Gilbert, the Michigan News Network.
Bring back the blue. A Michigan lawmaker has reintroduced legislation which would allow the Secretary of State to reissue blue license plates the state used from 1983 through 2007. The plan would also bring back the black plates issued between 1979 and 1983. Michigan State Senator Mallory McMorrow of Royal Oak says for many Michiganders, those retro license plates bring back nostalgic memories about their childhoods and the cars they grew up with. Under the legislation, the blue and black license plates would be available to all drivers in the state for an added fee of $100. She says the extra revenue would be used to fix a few more potholes in Michigan roads. WSGW News Time 9:10. Now here's WNEM First Alert meteorologist Diane Phillips.
We are drying out after overnight rain, and you will find on this hot and humid Thursday that we do have highs forecasted for the mid 80s, but with the humidity, it will feel like the 90s at points for today. We'll have partly cloudy skies. However, we do run the chance for showers and thunderstorms from the afternoon into the evening. The rain will wrap up overnight, and by Friday, we'll have partly cloudy skies and highs a little bit cooler, right around 80 degrees. But we do find that chance for rain late on your Friday, lingering into your Saturday morning as we have a cooler weekend with highs that'll be into the lower 70s. So make sure you stay updated on those rain chances as we go into the afternoon with the TV5 First Alert weather app. For WNEM, I'm First Alert meteorologist Diane Phillips.
Currently, we have
It is 69 degrees at WSGW.
Now, the only local radio talk show offering you the chance to ask your questions and express your opinions from around your block to around the world. The Art Lewis Show is on 100.5 and 790 WSGW and online, WSGW.com. The Art Lewis Show is presented by Westside Decorating Center.
Yes, indeed, Westside Decorating Center, located at 5789 State Street in Saginaw. And they have newly expanded showroom, expanded product lines, including countertops now. You'll find everything you need for home decorating waiting for you at Westside Decorating Center. Later on, after the 10 o'clock news, we'll talk about the debate last night, the Republican debate in Milwaukee. And on Focus this morning, we will learn about applied training solutions. But for this first hour, first of all, know that we are on the road broadcasting from the law offices of Carol Thomas. And speaking of that, I turned to my right, and who should be there but Carol Thomas? Isn't that amazing? I should probably turn your microphone on. There you go.
There. Yes, here I am. It's amazing how that works out.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you again.
Nice to see you, Art, as always.
And I mean, I don't have to ask this first question because she knows what's coming. What's new in elder law?
Well, actually, the good news is there isn't anything new. There may be some proposals down the road, but I
Oh,
just,
really?
but I still want to emphasize that people need to get documents set up because it's getting harder and harder. If someone needs long-term care, if they don't have the documents set up while they're competent, it's getting harder to have probate judges help us out and get things protected for people.
We are lucky here.
We're very lucky in this part of the
Saginaw,
state. Saginaw Bay, we're very fortunate. But there's some probate judges that just won't want to help. They say they should have gotten documents set up ahead of time. And it's such an easy thing to do. And then if you ever need long-term care for a married couple, we're able to save
Yeah.
everything they have. And our one nursing home in the area just went up to $14,000 a month.
Woo!
Amazing, isn't it?
So someone asked me to ask you this question. What is elder law?
Oh,
I don't know that I ever asked that before. What is elder law?
elder law is
Old folks like me.
exactly.
Thank you.
Well, elder law. So I had a client that came to me a few years ago and she said to me, I knew that I needed an elderly lawyer, so I came to you. So I thanked her and said, yes, you're in the right office.
Yeah,
But to define elder law, it's actually a part of estate planning. Typically, if someone talks to an estate planning lawyer, the focus is on what happens the day that you die. How do things go to your loved ones?
Right.
It's all on that. Elder law is the area or the time before you die if there's an incapacity issue. And that's the thing that just so many people don't think about. Now, whether it's going into a nursing home that you can lose your life savings if you're not prepared, but beyond that, it's getting the financial power of attorney set up. If someone has a stroke and can't handle their finances, it's amazing that they're blocked. They have to go to court and get a conservatorship. And what really surprises a lot of my clients, they think married couples, oh, I don't need a power of attorney for my spouse because I'm on everything. Oh, it doesn't work like that, Art. If a spouse has a stroke and can't handle their finances, I'll tell you the number one problem is if anyone has an IRA, they have to take out minimum distributions. And if someone is mentally incapacitated, they can't. So even married.
You keep going to that mental capacitation.
Mhm.
And I want to go back to that because
Okay.
This is an important note in terms of setting up documents before you're incapacitated. Because
Absolutely.
what happens if you go to a nursing home and the person is not of good faculty and can't respond?
If they can't respond and they don't have the appropriate documents set up, they could be looking at losing their life savings. And just imagine that, Art, setting up one set of documents and you go in a nursing home. For a married couple, we save everything. Single, we save 60 to 70%. What a huge difference.
Yeah.
So you really want to get this done while you're competent. People often ask me, at what age should I do this? I used to say 70, then I said 60, and I'm actually saying 50 because we've had some situations recently of people in their 50s that become incapacitated. I'm going to use stroke as the example, and typically that's the most common of someone in their 50s, but it's really a serious thing that people need to get taken care of.
Is stroke really the biggie?
I think a medical professional might have the right statistics, but it just seems what ends up in our office is someone becomes suddenly incapacitated in the 50s. It seems to be most likely a stroke. But what's interesting? We're having more and more people in their 50s and 60s that are having issues with dementia and Alzheimer's. That seems to be just an epidemic right now. And that gets frustrating for me because if a spouse has been diagnosed with dementia, my goodness, you need to get documents done. Don't wait until it's too late. We've had a couple situations in the last couple weeks. They've waited too long. And if the person, isn't competent, they don't
Particularly
know.
dementia, because the chances are they're not going to be competent, right?
Right, as it gets advanced. But when someone's diagnosed, typically you have a window of years
Yeah.
that we could get the documents done. And so I get so frustrated and I understand it's difficult if you have that diagnosis. Well, now we better go see the lawyer. But if you want to preserve your life savings, it's very important. Plus, if the spouse or the parent with dementia can't handle their finances, please get the documents set up, the financial power of attorney, so someone can act on their behalf.
So let's explain those. Financial power of attorney.
Mhm.
What does that give me the right to do as having that power?
It gives the person the right. A basic way to say it is to step into their shoes. But I want to say that all financial powers of attorney aren't the same. Basically, they allow you to handle the finances. They allow you to do anything with real estate. But unfortunately, a lot of them are 1 and 2 pages long and they stop there. I need, if someone's going into long-term care, a very thoroughly drafted power of attorney. Our powers of attorney here are 12, 13 pages long, because if someone goes in a nursing home and we want to protect their assets and they're incapacitated at that point, we need to show the state that the person wanted this done. If not, the state will always say, oh, Carol, that's elder abuse. You can't take away someone's money and give it to the children.
So you know how my mind works.
I'm,
so here we go.
I'm worried. I saw the look on your face.
Party A has power of attorney, financial power of attorney over wife, husband, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if Party A predeceases the person they have power of attorney over? Then what happens?
Well, if it's been drafted correctly, the attorney should always have a backup and another backup.
Okay, so there are secondary.
There's second and thirds, and there should be. But I get frustrated. Sometimes people come in and there isn't a backup. If it's too late, then guess what?
It's too late.
Go to court.
Probate.
Have to go to court. Mm-hmm.
All right. Folks, if you have any questions about elder law, about trusts and the like, and wills, and things of that nature, and ladybird deeds, you can give I saw the look on Carol. You can give us a call. 989-752-6111 is the number to call and chat with elder law attorney Carol Thomas. Let me take a moment to talk about my car dealer, McDonald Ford M47 in Freeland. You've heard me say that the McDonald family has been a friend of mine for many, many, many years. When I came in 1974, literally just about the first person I met outside of the radio station was Tom McDonald Sr. And we became fast friends after that. And his son, Tom Jr., and his son, Tom III, owned McDonald Ford on M47 in Freeland. But not only are they in the business of selling you brand new Fords, which they'd be happy to do, but they are also buying cars. And you can begin the process of selling a car you no longer need by contacting Joe at McDonaldFord.com. Joe at McDonaldFord.com. Joe will tell you what he needs in the way of photographs of the vehicle, the VIN number, the mileage, things of that nature. After he receives all of that, he will provide you with an offer. You decide. If you accept the offer, payment is on the spot. All of the paperwork is taken care of. Lien releases are taken care of. No additional costs. You get a check. Put cash in your pocket today, and maybe tell your family and friends too to do the same thing. Contact Joe at McDonaldFord.com. Joe at McDonaldFord.com. McDonald Ford, 6790 Midland Road in Freeland. Stop out and pay him a visit.
Where are you going, Steve?
Taking your car to Paintbull.
The body shop? What happened?
Relax. Paintbull's more than a body shop. They do detailing, rust proofing, even ceramic graphene coating applications.
Ceramic what?
No idea, but it sounds cool.
Whew, I thought you were going to Paintbull because you wrecked my car.
No, we just need a new bumper.
What?
Gotta go.
Get your vehicle looking great at Paintbull on Bay Road in Saginaw. We're more than a body shop. Visit paintbullrepair.com.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
I'm Neil Cavuto, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The number of people filing first-time jobless claims drops to a 3-week low. There were 230,000 claims reported. That's 10,000 fewer than the previous week's upwardly revised number. It's a big kickoff today for the Federal Reserve's annual Jackson Hole, Wyoming retreat, which investors around the world will be watching closely for clues into the short and long-term policy intentions of Fed Chair Jerome Powell and his colleagues. China's banned seafood imports from Japan, which has started its controversial process of releasing nuclear radioactive wastewater from the wrecked Fukushima plant into the Pacific Ocean. The plan's been approved by Japan's government and the International Atomic Energy Agency, the United Nations nuclear watchdog, which said last month the release met the international safety standards. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. When a restaurant closes, my reaction is, that sucks. They had good steak. When regional banks close or 3 of them close overnight, it freaks me out. This is why I have my own personal gold reserve. It's part of my personal protection plan. Call my friends at Oxford Gold Group. Call 833-404-GOLD. 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
Visit the Auburn Farmers Market Thursdays 2 to 6 p.m. located in Auburn Park under the pavilion at US 10 and 9 Mile Road. Fresh produce, baked goods, arts and crafts, and more. And don't forget about our monthly moonlight markets. The Auburn Farmers Market, we'd love to feed you. Open June 15th through September 28th.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
With you here on WSGW, talking to Carol Thomas from her office. And we should tell you the reason we're here. Carol, you can talk about this, but the reason we're here is because you have some seminars coming up. We'll get to a phone call here in just a minute, but tell us about seminars.
Yes, as fall arrives, so do the seminars. So I always start every year in September in Bay City, and I'll be at the DoubleTree on Wednesday, September 20th at 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock. You need to call my office for reservations. I'm amazed how we just started promoting this, and they do fill up. They fill up way ahead of time.
And that office number is
989-793-2300.
easy to remember.
Yes, very
And
easy.
Then we move to
And then my
Saginaw.
Saginaw is Wednesday, November 29th, and that's at the Horizons Conference Center. And same thing, you need to make a reservation.
It
but
is not too early to make a reservation.
no,
for
it
either.
isn't. Yeah, people,
And they're free and they have great cookies.
yes, they do.
989-793-2300. Let's talk to, Ernie hung up. Oh, well, we had a caller from Carol, but Ernie, call back if you'd like. So talking about putting all of this paperwork together, you talk about long forms and everything. How long does it take? That's 2 situations. First situation, emergency, right now.
Crisis,
How long
yes.
does it take to get the paperwork done so that it's legal and ready to go?
We can do it the same day.
Oh, okay.
If we have to. And there are times that it is an emergency and we want to, especially with married couples, we want to get their home into the trust before they go into the hospital, before they're in a nursing home. The state has this wonderful date called the snapshot date. And that's the first date that someone needs care, but it includes the hospitalization. So if someone comes in and we know this is coming and their health is failing, we can get it done the same day. I have 15 employees here and they're phenomenal. So we hit the ground running.
So for non-emergencies,
Non-emergencies.
looking ahead, and we want to get it all set
We
up.
want to get it done. Call my office and make an appointment. But when someone does come in and see me, we typically can get the documents done the next week, because when people realize how important it is to get this done, and I'll actually start the appointment when people are signing their documents. I'll say, just think, if last night one of you moved into a nursing home, you could have lost everything. If one of you moves in a nursing home tonight, everything is protected. And when people realize the importance of getting this done, there's no plan B. It's you need to get these documents done, or you're looking at potentially a $12,000 a month bill.
So what is the state of Michigan's position on Medicaid? Because that's what we're talking about, isn't it? In the end here, we're talking about a person going into a nursing home on Medicaid.
Absolutely.
Even though they may have
assets.
Mm-hmm. So what is the state's position on this?
I'm not sure they love me, but They've never said
But they gave you the right to do it. I mean, they,
Well,
they
actually-
provided the structure, right?
Actually, they didn't.
Oh,
The federal government does. And we owe all of this to President Reagan's administration, because the anecdotal story is it was brought to his attention that people were married for 60 years.
I remember this now.
Do you remember this? Yes. And
Divorce.
yeah, they'd have to get a divorce. That was the only option. So the federal government put in all these statutes in the 80s, and that's what we follow in order to then have everything protected for married couples.
Well, how is it though that every state is different then?
They interpret them a little bit differently. So many states you can save 100% like Michigan. And I don't know how some states get by with they can only save 2/3 for married couple, but at least you can do that, which is better than losing
So
potentially
somewhere in
everything.
the federal statutes, it must not specify.
It doesn't. As a matter of fact,
That's-
yes, actually what the statute says, it doesn't say if someone goes in a nursing home, you don't have to lose your money. It doesn't say that. But the statute states that if a spouse cannot become impoverished because of a spouse's health. That's what we use as our springboard. So we use the federal statutes in order to get things protected. And I want to let people
The
know
state has to accept that, right? I mean, they
Yes.
do have to have.
Oh,
the
they have
mechanism.
to.
The state has to have the mechanism for you to do it, right?
absolutely, because
Because you're licensed under the state.
yes, but feds, as everyone would know, constitutional law, federal law, trumps state
Trumps,
law.
right.
So they have to follow that. They they can't be as restrictive probably in some cases, but we are able to use the laws of the federal government for Michigan. And I want to say that nursing homes like what I do. A lot of people
Guarantees them payment, right?
they get payment, and the Medicaid payment to nursing homes is very high. It's very close to private pay. So nursing homes are forever referring to me because if someone comes in, they know it's a win-win, that they'll get paid and the family isn't upset that they're having to write these $12,000 a month checks.
That's amazing. I mean, I was thinking 3,000-4,000 a month.
No, it's
I've been
very
there
high.
in a long time.
My favorite thing is if someone comes in to see me and they are in the medical field or the dental field, and I'll say, how much do you think Medicaid pays a nursing home? They guess like what you would have thought.
Yeah,
Very low.
low.
No. They have a good lobby.
Yeah. And so do we and you, right? Because that's what you do for us with the forms and everything.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean,
So-
I was going to say the state isn't thrilled with what I do. There's some people out there, maybe even some listeners this morning that say, gee, if someone has money, shouldn't they pay their way? And I just would like to address that, Art, that everyone that I help, they've paid their taxes their whole life. They've already paid into the Medicaid system. So why should they have to pay twice?
Yeah. We covered the financial power of attorney, but there's another one.
There is.
Medical power of attorney. Not to be confused with a living will, which they don't accept here in Michigan, right?
Correct.
So explain the difference.
The medical power of attorney is a document in Michigan, and actually all 50 states do have the medical power of attorney, where you name the person who will make the decision for you. Not to be confused with a living will, and a lot of people think we have living wills because 47 states do recognize living wills. A living will, you'd say, I want to be on a ventilator. I don't want to be on a ventilator. If I'm on a ventilator, I only want to be on for 5 days. You can be very specific.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We have something in the state like that, but isn't it called an advance directive? Hospitals will ask you when you go in, do you have an advance directive?
Correct. And the advance directive, in my opinion, is just who do you want to make the decision for you? I have seen the
Which is
hospital
the same
forms.
thing as your medical power of attorney,
Exactly.
only legalese is there.
Exactly. And I'll be honest, I'm not thrilled with what I've seen. I'm sorry to anyone that works for a hospital, but I'm not thrilled with their forms because they do have people start making decisions. What do you want done? And that's sliding over to living wills. And Art, how do you know 20 years before the fact? The Society for Critical Care Medicine came out about, 10 years ago and said, if someone would have a document spelling out what they wanted, it would need to be 1 million pages long and it probably wouldn't hit that scenario.
You'd have to cover every medical illness in every medical scenario.
Exactly. And it's also different. And quality of life, that's something you want to consider, obviously, for your loved ones. So I like the medical powers of attorney that we do here. Basically, you're saying, this is who I want to make this decision. If this person is unable or unwilling, then I want this person. And if this person, sometimes we have 7 or 8 people listed, especially if someone has 6 or 7 children, but We can have as many listed as.
And can
you
I,
want.
as a layman, provide some advice to people?
Yeah, absolutely.
I had to deal with this in
Mhm.
2000 when my mother passed.
Hmm.
I was the medical power of attorney. She was in Kansas City and I'm in Michigan. And I traveled down there quite a bit. The station was wonderful. I mean, I spent probably a total of 2 months off and on down there in Kansas City. But just before she passed, I had to come back. And I got a call from a nurse one day telling me that she didn't think the hospital and the doctors were following the intent of the medical power of attorney that I had laid out.
Hmm.
And they didn't. They were just, she was comatose and unresponsive, totally unresponsive. There would be 8 or 10 doctors going there every day. And the little bill went off to the insurance company every day. And I got upset, and I didn't take any further action, but I let them know how I felt about it. And they then followed it, and 2 days later she passed. They were keeping her alive against her will. And
It's so sad when I hear that.
My advice to people is, whoever you name as medical power of attorney, make sure they're there.
Absolutely.
You
Yes.
know?
Yes.
That's just it's one of those situations, and long distance, anything long distance is difficult.
It's harder. But interesting, Art, we talk about this a lot. Today, it's almost easier if it's long distance. With Zoom and the
communication,
technology.
Yes, but
still, I understand. My dad,
because on Zoom, you only see what they want to tell you.
that's
If
true.
you're there and you're witnessing it, it's a whole different ballgame. And chances are, if you're standing right in front of them, they're not going to do anything that you might object to later.
That's true. In the early 90s, I'm from Wisconsin, and my dad had a stroke in Milwaukee, and I was his medical advocate. And I, of course, went back and forth. There was a flight back then from Saginaw to Milwaukee.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I was flying back and forth to Milwaukee. And when it came time to take him off life support, again, we don't have the technology we do today. They had to pass the phone to 4 different nurses that I had to say it's time to take him off. So that was very, very difficult.
All right. We got a couple of callers waiting. Let me take a quick break here, and then we will be back, and we will get to our callers here on WSGW.
We're proud to make Pioneer Sugar for you and your family. Proud to be found in your kitchen, the heart of your home. And it doesn't really matter what you make with Pioneer Sugar, whether it's with our granulated white, light brown confectioners. It's the memories you'll make using it that will matter the most. Pioneer Sugar, pure and all natural, made from sugar beets grown right here. What could be sweeter than that?
Retirement is more than a newly discovered free time. It's a time to reflect on how you'll be remembered and your legacy. It's important to make proper arrangements now. Tune in to WSGW every Sunday at 8 a.m. to your Financial Empower Hour with Jason and Carl Kreiderman from Great Lakes Investment Advisors in Midland. Learn how to structure your retirement savings to increase the value of your estate and help leave on. Plus, call Great Lakes Investment Advisors today, and they will include a complimentary Legacy Maximizer at 989-835-7203. That's 989-835-7203. This commercial shall in no way be construed as solicitation to sell securities or advisory services of any state other than Michigan, or where otherwise permitted. Topics should be discussed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Advisory services offered through Great Lakes Investment Advisors, a registered investment advisor in the state of Michigan.
Want to make your night out a little more fun? Try some music, some friends, and a few rounds of Club Kino. But how make Club Kino more fun? That's right, Tripler Time's back. All this month, random Club Kino tickets will have a doubler or tripler message. Find one, and your Club Kino and extra prizes will be doubled or tripled. So triple your fun. Yeah. Club Kino Tripler Time, only from the Michigan Lottery. Knowing your limits is always the best bet.
This is a paid advertisement. Pulaski Kirker with principal offices in Houston, Texas is responsible for the content of this advertisement. Parker Stenauer is attorney licensed in Michigan. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should never be based upon an advertisement.
Attention, victims of sexual abuse. If you were sexually abused by a member of the clergy, listen closely, as you may be entitled to financial compensation, even if the abuse happened decades ago. A recent report from Michigan's Attorney General details decades of sexual abuse in the diocese with accused priests. If you suffered abuse from a clergy member, no matter how long ago, call our law firm's confidential clergy abuse helpline at 800-492-0935. We may be able to get you justice, closure, and substantial compensation while your case remains fully confidential. This is your chance to hold those responsible accountable and receive a meaningful financial settlement. So hurry, call our law firm's 100% confidential clergy abuse helpline right now to seek justice and compensation. Call 800-492-0935. That's 800-492-0935. 800-492-0935.
Hi, this is Mike Avery. You know you can hear my outdoor magazine show Sunday mornings, 9 till noon on WSGW. But now there's another option. Saturday morning, 6 till 9. Tune in for the latest outdoor news and information, hunting and fishing tips, wildlife and conservation issues, even some wild game cooking. That's Outdoor Magazine now on Saturday mornings too, 6 till 9, right here on WSGW 790 AM and 100.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Showroom and Design Center Studios. This is WSGW.
And we're back with you at the law offices of Carol Thomas. Carol Thomas with us talking about elder law. Errol is in Saginaw. We'll begin with Errol. Good morning. You're on with Carol Thomas, Errol.
Well, good morning, Mr. Dalton. Good morning, Carol. I've got a question for you that I just ran into in the last week and a half selling my home. My home was in a trust, and it turned into be a total mess unless I'd have put the house in a ladybird deed. Can you explain to me why anyone would ever put a house in a trust?
Well, I assume that we did not do your documents because
No, I'm sorry. No, you did not.
yeah, it's extremely important to have your home in a trust, but we never record it into the trust because it does make it much more difficult when selling if it's selling it out of a trust. So your lawyer chose to record the deed and it does make it more difficult. But I have to address the issue that you said, maybe do a ladybird deed. I do not recommend ladybird deeds.
Yeah.
We refuse to do ladybird deeds for estate planning because there's a big potential that if someone needs long-term care, they're going to lose their home to the state. So I don't want you to mislead the other
Okay.
listeners that a home in the trust is crucial, but don't record the deed.
The home and the trust is how you protect the home.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for your advice.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. And Richard is Richard is not there anymore. All right, we must have answered his question. Saginaw Bay City, 752-6111, toll free 866-790 WSGW. What is a ladybird deed?
A ladybird deed, and it actually was named after Lady Bird Johnson, who's
Kind
she's
of
the first one,
assumed, yeah.
yes, that did this. That is where I would say, I, Carol Thomas, and I'd say it right on the deed, that when I die, my home goes to my children. And it makes sense that it would work, but we have so many issues with other lawyers that do ladybird deeds. And what isn't happening right now in Michigan, but we know it's going to happen down the road, and it's in Pennsylvania and many other states, that if you have a ladybird deed and you're in a nursing home, the only way to get Medicaid to pay for your care is you have to switch the deed. It doesn't go to the children, it goes to the state. So we would not do ladybird deeds for estate planning.
There's no protection with the ladybird.
None at all. And there's an issue if a child becomes incapacitated or a child dies, and then there's probate. We want to stay out of probate court at all expense.
So let me ask, in Errol's case, he wanted to sell the home, which is in the trust. And his lawyer told him, well, he had to put it into a ladybird deed, and then he's going to sell the home. Obviously, that period of time from the time he puts it in the ladybird deed till the time he sells it is a risk period. But if nothing happens and he doesn't need medical care and all that stuff, he could sell the home out of the ladybird deed, right?
Well, I'm kind of confused on why they would have said put it in a ladybird deed.
Oh, okay.
That confused me, to be honest with you. And I'm
So you
easily
would do that.
confused.
So
No,
What
no,
would you
we
do?
would not
Just
do that.
take it out of the trust and leave it in their name?
Yeah. I mean, just very simple. I have all my clients, the documentation at the Register of Deeds is that it's still just in their names. It's not in the trust, and it makes it much easier.
Gary is in Bridgeport. Gary, good morning. You're on with elder law attorney Carol Thomas.
Good morning to both of you. I do have a question. I have a revocable trust and a will, and I do have it through your law firm.
Okay, thank you.
And the question I have is, if I have to go into a facility, my daughter is the power of attorney and financial power of attorney. My house is in the document. So, if I'm on Medicare and right now I'm on Medicare. So if I'm on, if my pension and my Social Security, is that protected? If I have to go into a facility?
Are you
And
married?
if it does, if I,
Are you married?
my wife died. My wife died in 2000.
Okay. For single
So I'm single.
for single individuals, unfortunately, all of the monthly income minus $60 does have to go to the facility. And there isn't anything
Wow.
to do. Yeah, that is federal law. Just as a little side note for married couples, if they have the documents done, we can get the spouse who's in the nursing home, their income to go to the spouse at home. But again, you want those documents done ahead of time.
Oh, wait, now, but what about the part where I've heard you say you can save up to 60%
Yes,
for a
well,
single person?
right. Gary was asking about monthly income.
Yeah.
So all of his assets, we can save 60 to 70% of his assets.
Oh,
But his monthly income,
is not considered an asset.
right, income comes in every month, and that does have to go to the nursing home for a single person.
Okay.
So the house is protected and anything in the bank.
The house is protected, and 60 to 70% of your money is protected.
Okay.
So in other words,
So,
just to put round numbers on it, if you had $100,000 in the bank, roughly 60,000
60 to
of it
70,000 can be saved.
saved. Okay.
And I know single people are really
Okay.
disappointed with that, but I'll tell you, I remember back in 2005, boy, I've been doing this a long time, Art, but the state tried to stop us from saving anything from single people. And it was part of the Deficit Reduction Act. And we really thought for about a 2-month period, we would never be able to save anything for single people. They were really going after single individuals. A smart group of lawyers in Lansing actually came up with a way that we can save the 60 to 70%. So I know single individuals are disappointed we can't save it all, but I go back to, wow, that looked like at a point we weren't going to be able to
Weren't gonna
save
save
anything.
anything, yeah.
No.
Does that answer your question?
So they get 60% of the pension and 60% of the Social Security.
No. The pension and the Social Security are not assets, right?
Correct.
He gets to keep $60 of that total.
Yes, of monthly income. And that's your Social Security and pension that comes in every month. That is income.
Yes.
That would have to go to the facility. You only get to keep $60.
You get to keep 60% or 70% of what you have in the bank.
Exactly.
As a
Yeah.
cash asset. Okay.
And where does Medicaid come in on that?
For both married and for single, if it looks like someone needs nursing home care, you really want to get a hold of my office so we can get working on the plan. It typically takes 4 to 6 weeks to get someone eligible for Medicaid that does have assets. So it's something that if you think it's coming, even within 3, 4, or 5 months from now, it's not too early to get a hold of our office so we can sit down and explain what we need to do to get the savings.
All right.
Okay, my home is considered an asset then, right?
Well, your home is, at this point, since you worked with us, yes, the entire home is protected.
Okay, that's great.
There you go, Gary.
Thank you very much for the information.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bruce, hang on. We'll get to you next as we talk to elder law attorney Carol Thomas. She has some seminars coming up. We'll remind you about those too.
RocketGrabPlus.com. This week's deal on RocketGrabPlus.com is from Applied Training Solutions. You are going to get half off of a CPL class. It's normally $150, but you're getting this deal for just $75. A CPL class is necessary for anyone looking for the proper certification to apply for a concealed pistol license in the state of Michigan. and you must be 21 or older. Head to RocketGrabPlus.com right now to snag your deal.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
Online betting can be fun. It's kind of like whitewater rafting. The rush of excitement, the thrill. Well, until your raft is heading straight for a huge waterfall. For tips that will help keep you afloat, go to don'tregretthebet.org. Sponsored by the Michigan Association of Broadcasters and the Michigan Gaming Control Board. Have a gambling problem? Call the Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. Many of these animals are rescued from desolate conditions. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals for more than 140 years. They help ensure that pets have a safe, warm shelter during times of need, especially during natural disasters. But pets need forever homes too. Adopting a shelter pet enriches the lives of one's family and allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work, including their efforts to rescue animals in need, certify the humane treatment of farm animals, help ensure the safety of animals on the silver screen, and protect our planet's amazing endangered species at AmericanHumane.org.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make it fun and engaging, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. You can choose from topics like travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you speaking right away. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
Just 3 weeks. Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are designed by language experts and voiced by real native speakers, you'll get the accents just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
And now, try Babbel free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Sean Hannity, weekdays at 3 on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW.
And we're back with you here at WSGW. Talking to Elder Law Attorney Carol Thomas. Back to our phone. Carol, Bruce is in Saginaw. Bruce, you're on with our Elder Law Attorney. Good morning.
Good morning. I have a trust that was set up by an attorney's office in Saginaw, but I'm not sure. I don't think they were an elder law attorney. It may be perfect the way it is, or maybe it isn't. I really don't know. And I was wondering, just a ballpark figure, what would it cost to have you just review my documents to see whether I need to make modifications or not, whether you need to make modifications?
Yeah, I'm going to have to disappoint you because we are not allowed to do that, talk about fees on the radio. I would suggest the easiest way to find out is to call the office.
Call the office. And because there are very few elder law attorneys in the state, we do review other attorneys' trusts all the time. And actually, my son Jim and his wife Darren, that are both lawyers in the office, they review the trust, but you can just call my office. They'll tell you the fee and they'll explain the process.
Yeah. It's one of those. I'm sorry to be able to tell you that, but that's the way you have to do it.
Okay, thank you very much.
You bet. And that's why we see all the lawyer advertising all over television, but there's no fees mentioned other than the fact that there's no cost until we get a win, you know. Well, anyway. So let's talk about what somebody has to bring in if they're going to set up a trust. What do you need?
Certainly people that come to my seminars, they typically decide, let's get this done. We want to get things protected. So we give them a list. And certainly if you have a home, either a property tax statement or a copy of the deed to the home, an outline of what your assets are. I don't need account numbers, just ballpark about what you have in assets, and certainly the names of your beneficiaries. You'd be surprised how many people kind of forget the birth dates of their children. I think they come in, they're nervous. No one wants to see a lawyer. So if you can bring in the names of children, assuming you have children, if you don't, who you want as beneficiaries. And
So let's talk about that for a minute. Does the trust act like a will? And
yes, the trust,
dictate who gets what?
exactly. That's the whole point of the trust, is it's the distribution. Where do things go?
And you do that by avoiding what a will would do, and that's go through probate.
We'll go through probate. And with the trust, we put the home in the trust. Again, we don't record the deed, but unlike other lawyers, and we're near the end of the show because this would probably cause a lot of phone calls, but we don't title any money in our trust. And you could go to 9 other lawyers today, 9 out of 10, and they would put money into the trust. It makes it more difficult for nursing home protection. So
How do you protect that money?
by having the language in the trust and the language in the powers of attorney, we're able to do the transfers at the time. And it's just so much easier if the money isn't titled.
So what
in
you
the
do is
trust.
actually move the money.
Yes, we
Okay.
have to. We have to if someone's in a nursing home.
And is it a big document?
Our trust isn't that long at all. I mean, it's many different documents together. We put it in a binder, but the trust itself is only like 12 or 13 pages long.
Yeah. And let's ask this question then. I had you do a trust. So we're going to make up numbers now because I think you were around then. I had you do a trust in 2006.
Okay.
It's now 2023. So how much change has there been, and how do you adapt my trust to the new laws?
We never have to change trusts, even if the laws change. And the state would not expect you to have to change your trust for the reason I addressed earlier. If someone's diagnosed with dementia, please get this done. And then the state wouldn't, like 3 years down the road, say, oh, you have to change this. So once it's done forever.
Done forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like permanent.
Permanently, rest of your life.
Don't have to have it reviewed or anything.
Nope.
What if my situation changes?
If your situation changes, you maybe don't want one of your children to receive something, or you want to change who your trustees would be, then you need to call us and you need to do an amendment. But other than those changes, you really don't have to make changes because we don't put money in the trust. So it's super simple, even if you change banks.
Now I have a dumb question just because I thought of it. What happens if something happens to your house? It's in the trust, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say there's a devastating fire. Now you've lost your home and you're going to get a new home
Mm-hmm.
or rebuild. What do you have to do?
Really nothing with us because in Michigan, the deed is for the land. It's not for the structure. So it's all taken care of. And
Learn something every day.
in California, you have 2 separate deeds, one for the land and one for the structure. But we had so many clients that lost their trust in the floods, a few
Oh,
years
yeah.
ago.
Well,
Yes.
The dam breaks.
Yeah. So their trusts were destroyed, but we always have copies here. So we just made new copies and they were all set.
But you don't have to do anything else. I mean, since the land is in the trust, you can put on that land anything you
Anything
want.
you want. Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter how valuable it is, it's protected.
Exactly.
How nice.
Yes.
Let's talk about your seminars.
Okay.
Let's end there.
Next one is in September, Wednesday the 20th. It's in Bay City at the Doubletree. I have sessions at 10 o'clock and 5 o'clock. And my Saginaw will be Wednesday, November 29th at the Horizons Conference Center. And people do need to call to make reservations. Phone number is 989-793-2300.
And we should point out these are free seminars. There's no charge, no cost at all.
None at all. And so many of my clients that come to me because of the seminars, they send their friends because it's such a nice way to kind of take a look at me, sit back, watch me for an hour
Sure.
and decide, am I the person that you want to work with? Plus, I talk for about 45 minutes and then we have questions and answers. I try to cover everything you need to know so you understand how this works.
Yeah. All right, Carol. Well, listen, thank you for being with us as always.
Thank you, Art.
We'll remind everybody about the seminars over the next hour and a half or so. But again, if you want to go to the seminars, you got to call the office, 989-793-2300. That is the same number you would call if you want to make an appointment to sit down in person with Carol Thomas and discuss your future paperwork needs. We're going to take a break, come back right into the news, and then we'll be back with an open phone edition next hour.
Watch Without Diamond Saturday night for Paw Patrol Night with an appearance by Chase. Presented by My Michigan Health. No job is too big, no pup too